Hello everyone, my name is Brittany Stryker. I led a group session at my workplace on July 30th from 12 o'clock to 1:30. We held the session in conference room A, which is a big boardroom, and there are 7 chairs on each side and 2 on the ends with a big boardroom style table in the middle. So before the session, I sent out an email to all the department heads explaining exactly what we were doing and inviting others to join in. And I discussed the subjects that we were going to be talking about. So the session was mainly geared towards women in the workplace and the difficulties facing women in a extremely male-centric environment, and many other things like work-life balance and making yourself heard as a female in the workplace and those sort of things. So it was a very discussion-based group. I didn't have too many formal exercises to do other than one in the beginning and one at the end, because I wanted the group members to really feel like it was their group and that they could take it wherever they wanted to. So I helped facilitate some of the subjects, but mostly once we got into discussion, it flowed really well and didn't really need a whole lot of input from me. So that's the nature of the session, and I felt like we really stayed on topic. It went really well. A lot of people were saying afterwards that they got a lot from it, so that was really encouraging for me. So what really interests me with my participants was the age disparity between them. So we had 2 members that were in their mid to late 60s, and we had people all the way down to 28 as well. So there was a lot of different ideas, and there were a lot of different people were in a lot of different stages in their lives, so I felt that was really interesting because we had a lot of different views on the topics that we were discussing. So I felt like the participants responded very favorably to me as the facilitator, and I provided in the content that I provided, especially concerning leadership qualities. So that was a big thing that we talked about, was the difference between men and women and how they're perceived in the workplace. So that was a very helpful thing to talk about. So all the women were very responsive and eager to delve further into the issues that we discussed. They included leadership qualities, work-life balance, and challenges of being a working parent. So, as I said before, since there was such a disparate difference between the ages of the group members, not everybody currently had children at home, but many of us did. So that was an interesting topic because people who have already been through the issue were able to share some of their knowledge on those types of issues. So they were all very eager and very responsive, and one of the topics that we discussed at length was the feeling that women often feel that they have to do it all. So not only do they have to succeed in the workplace, but they also have to succeed in the home, and it was really difficult for a lot of the participants to kind of balance those two things. So that was a very interesting topic that we talked about a lot. So overall, I think that I did well in facilitating the session. So I made sure to use my eyes and show that I was actively listening to people. I asked questions to clarify if I didn't understand something or if they were being contradictory. And I used linking to show the similarities between group members. So the linking was really an interesting skill that I used to show the similarities between people's experiences, and what we found was a lot of us had a lot of the same experiences, although there were differences in our positions and our ages and our stages in life. So I also used a fun exercise in the beginning that helped to kind of engage the participants and to really build the energy at the beginning of the session. So it was a good transition from the exercise that I used in the beginning to the discussion topics because they were very closely related. So the main challenge that I experienced was the transition part. So like I said, it was an easy transition from the exercise to the discussion portion, but from subject to subject I had a hard time transitioning. So when I felt that the participants wanted to talk longer about something, I kind of let them do that. So I felt like we dwelled for a really long time on certain subjects. So that made it so we really didn't get to all the subjects that I had planned to talk about. So I think that I would like to work on my transitions, and although it was an important subject, I felt that we discussed, perfectionism and the need to do it all for a really long time. So I would like to work on transitioning from subject to subject within the discussion as well. I felt that the session went really well. Like I said, I had many participants afterwards tell me how much they enjoyed the session and how they wanted to do it again. So I'm planning to do another one next month, around mid-month. So I felt that the overall experience was really useful to me, and it helped me to know the appropriate times when to use certain skills that I learned throughout this course. One thing I would like to do is to do further research. So a lot of the participants wanted to get really in depth on things like negotiating and making sure that you're being heard in a professional environment. So I felt that one reason the session went so well is because that I already knew all the participants beforehand. So I have a pretty good view of their ideas and their general views. So I feel that I have a lot to learn. So my concern is that it wouldn't go as well if I didn't know the participants as well or at all in the next session. So I feel that I have a lot to learn as a group leader, but this session was very successful, which really boosted my confidence in being able to utilize the skills and the techniques that we've learned throughout this course.